record. Cool.
There you go.
Most deep fried shit ever is that, like, half baked Alexa narrator, just like recording in progress. Man, this was at the tail beginning of the podcast.
2024, dog.
The Bluetooth device is connected.
But everybody, it has been such a long time since we managed to record a podcast session. It's been a long time since I've really recorded anything after kind of drawing a line in the sand and deciding that I did not want to be so relentlessly uploading for free, basically, to YouTube. Instead, now I've adjusted it to where, as per the new Sean Cross Signs of the Swarm, Malevolent Enslavement, edited spooky season intro, all of the new content over on Sean Cross will be posted a week early on the Cross Core for only $3. And as per the one-liner I've been trying to push for a long time as well, you're getting 5 channels worth of content for only $3 a month. And once we can kind of balance out the ratio of YouTuber subscribers to Patreon investors, well, even $3 a month is going to be a lot. And as we continue climbing, and as I have the ability, after what was a bombshell eviction, a whole bunch of shit's been happening recently in life, but we're in a new place, we're in a new location, things are kind of getting better, they're kind of slowing down, still catching up on finances, but nonetheless, a lot has happened since we last spoke with you guys, since we last were able to do a cross-cast session, and just speak with any artist at that. We still have 2 podcast sessions from earlier this year too to edit and get uploaded. But quite literally, when T-Mobile suspends your mobile service after a little bit, you also are even more limited as far as your capabilities of even reaching out to bands. So dealing with a lot, taking on a lot, but also something really, really interesting happened out of nowhere recently. And that's going to be a big chunk of conversation today, in which I can now say, technically, I did a sample of going on the road, touring with the band, and being a merch guy, because I did that with the boys in Invirulant back closer to the end of September, I do believe. It's been a little bit now since that all happened. It wasn't too long ago, though. So I guess after work and stuff, just, I kind of lost track of when officially we did that, but it was a very profoundly positive experience. And even if it was one night, basically 2 nights or so, 2 days, there is so much to talk about. But I understand through going with you guys over to Oklahoma, visiting Duncan, and we'll be talking about that a lot. Well, I know that I'm definitely interested in becoming a touring musician one day, and being a part of a touring band. But most importantly, we got Ernie here, guys. We got Ernie, we got Shobe, but most importantly, no offense, Shobe, love you to death, but we got Ernie, because we haven't had him on the show before. We haven't been able to tell his story before. And I did my best not to ask any questions whatsoever when we were on the road. That way we can save all those questions. We can save that questionnaire for this session. So you guys have been seeing online with Instagram, over on Instagram, whether mine or the Invirulant Instagram, Ernie is the new drummer, and he has done fantastically so far. I do believe he's going to be one of the future best slam, best deathcore drummers in the scene, prominently with Invirulant, slam hop, necro thuggin' glorp gang slam. He did amazingly. He was very crisp, he was very precise, and he ain't even from fucking Arizona. So this dude had to travel out. And I mean, maybe there are some details I'm missing, but that's what we're here to learn today as well. So, gentlemen, how are we doing?
Good. Yeah, awesome, man. Why don't you set it off, Ernie?
Yeah.
What up?
What up? What up? Welcome to the show. It's going to be nice to learn a little bit more about you instead of just awkwardly, being in the bus, just like, hey, Ernie, how you doing? And just being roommates as we're traveling across the United States, several states in one night. So, I'm not sure, Ernie, if you've had the opportunity to kind of look over any of our previous sessions, but in the first half, we just kind of talk as much about you as possible, right? This is your opportunity to kind of like be self-persevering, be like, critiquing of yourself if you wish, provide perspective, an outsider view, but from a personal voice, right? Who is Ernie now of Invirulant? Who is this guy? Who is at 9 coffins over on Instagram, right? So
Yeah.
basically we want to start from the very beginning. Okay, you're prominently a drummer. I'm not sure if you do anything else, but that's also why we're in session tonight, is to learn like what else you've done over the years to kind of jump into the scene. But I'm glad you gentlemen are both doing well. It's good to see you again after what's been at least 2 or 3 weeks now since we last hung out on the level that we did. So Ernie, go ahead and get us kickstarted, man. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I mean, I sort of grew up on the metal shit. Started out playing guitar, probably 4th, 5th grade, and then switched over to the drums around the 5th grade. Got my first kit. Sort of just played solo for a long time. Started taking it seriously around like the edge of high school. Joined my first band. I was 15 going on 16, so like sophomore year. Some metalcore shit. We signed to a label. Had gone out of town on weekend burners, like out to St. Louis, Tennessee. Shot like a good music video, and then signed with these guys from like Northern Illinois. So it was like an indie label. We ran, I believe, 7 days with the Convalescents and some other bands. Yeah, so we ran that tour. It was all right. Had the van break down, came back home, sort of split for a bit. But I played a shit ton of shows in Chicago: House of Blues, Oceano, Rings of Saturn, Lorna Shore when Tom was still around, Browning, bunch of good bands. Last 10 Seconds of Life, Spite, Traders, a couple times. Those were the homies. So I sort of kept with the drums. I was doing producing on the side, probably just as long. So recording, programming, mostly like electric stuff, but I would get around to like writing all the band demos. So I sold my kit when I first moved to Arizona in 2018. I stayed for 3 years, flew back home, had my son after 2 years, and just sort of missed playing drums. I worked at Guitar Center for a little bit last year. I bought a new setup, got some new cymbals, and just got back into it. It's mainly doing covers of shit ton. What? What, he nudging me? What?
Are you allowed to say it?
What? Say what?
You know.
Fuck Guitar Center?
No.
What?
About the things.
About the things?
Yeah.
I mean,
About the thing.
doesn't matter.
Are you waiting till the official announcement?
Oh yeah, no, I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got a EAD10 module around, I believe, the November of 23. So at that point I started doing like covers. That's all the shit that's on the 9 Coffins page, like some Snuffed on Sight from Joy. Bunch of the shit I like to listen to, mainly hardcore stuff. I really took like a big hardcore step because I come from the new metal into deathcore, screamo shit, metalcore, all that, and then I really picked up hardcore over the past like 4 years. I don't know, there's something about the aggression of it. I like the crowd energy.
Yeah.
And with that, I was doing the covers, and Dondre, my buddy that I've known through the producing shit out here in Arizona, I've known him since I was 13. I was telling him I was moving back, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to sell my kit. He's like, don't do it. You're going to regret it. I was like, all right, well, if I keep it, try to plug me in with the band or something.
Mm-hmm.
Got me Nick from In Parallel With You, their contact, and then Envy. And they needed a drummer. So I sort of sent my audition, went into work. They were stoked on it. And then at that point, I just started doing the full covers with like the set list because they had the show coming up at the Nile. That was July 28th, right? Or the 29th.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that was the show. That was the Darlene Soto benefit show.
Right.
So I had about a month. So I joined like June 28th. And I had between then and July 17th when I drove out here. So I had a month to learn 5 songs. I usually learn by ear. Derek gave me tabs and shit that were essentially useless. I couldn't really use the programs. Just it. I don't know. I'm not like look at a spreadsheet. I have to like listen to it, play it, feel it, and then go back.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, dude, if I may, I'm very, very similar when it comes to listening to music. I can't really look at a tab, but because of, I think, 2 generations before me with my father and his father before them, like obviously my father did not end up being a positive pillar when it came to any creative mediums whatsoever. He said, don't you dare try to fucking do it as a main career, like have it as a side hobby. And that's fine now. I understand the deeper depths of what he was trying to say, but his delivery was just fucking deep fried. He's basically like, there was no positive reinforcement for anything creative I was doing. But the important thing is, putting all that to the side, is that my father and my grandfather, despite their lack of engagement, at least on my level, in the music scene or in music at all consistently, they've always been a listen by ear individual, and I have been as well. I've kind of learned a couple of songs from shows. I think most recently I learned Tommy Heavenly Six's Paper Moon, the second intro for Soul Eater, which there's some very, very important reasons why I was learning the bass line, but I ended up learning it from this like dude on an independent, like he was from the Philippines, I think. He's like Philippine, Vietnamese, something like that. He was tan, he was Asian, whatever. I was trying to decipher what ethnicity he was specifically, but I was like, okay, so he's like adding more spice, and therefore I went with his cover and then added more spice and learned that spicier bass line for Paper Moon. But I'm the same way. Anyways, continue by all means.
Hi, baby. Here's the little guy around. Want your juice? So, definitely a shout out. I can't really look over. Was Brian Scott from Polarities. I played a shit ton of shows with him back like 2016 when we were doing all the national acts. Those my boys out from Chicago. He hit me up. He was working on a project that just never came to fruition. Shit ton of songs recorded, and I told him I was trying to get back into drums, and I had gotten some shells as a gift. And I was working at Guitar Center, so I sort of built the kit around preparing to drum for them, and that project sort of dissipated like right before I left. Yeah. Yeah, use something else. Prop it up. Say goodbye to that fire truck too. Using his toys to hold the phone up.
Oh, I see. So yeah, shout out for your buddy because he ended up getting...
Sorry. Sorry, man. The fire truck sing songs and shit.
No, you're good. You're good.
So, yeah, he sort of pushed me to get back into it real hard. We shot 2 music videos. I learned their first EP, and in the midst of finishing up the vocal recordings, it just like never really came together. That was the Velisca project that was in my bio for a while, but it sort of dropped off a little bit. He's got a side project that's going with Frank Rosato from Endgame or Empath, sorry. Empath. He used to be in Low Country. There's another set of homies out in Chicago. But I told them if they ever need me to fly out there, they're doing a debut or something and want live drums, I don't mind. His music's great. So
yeah,
shout out to homie for sort of pushing me to get back into it. Sort of gave me some motivation, something to learn, a little bit of a goal. But yeah, I came out, did the show with them for Soto, which was cool. I remember meeting Matt for the first time. He was stoked. Everyone's stoked to have a drummer. I know these guys have been waiting for one for a long time, so it's cool to be here.
No,
definitely. Now, I don't know. It sort of hit the ground running. Like I came out, we had a show. 10 days later, A month later, flew out to Seattle to play Decimation Fest. Got to meet Dezo, which it's been cool because I've met a lot of bands that me personally I was listening to in Chicago as a fan. You know, came out before I even knew Envy, and now it's been like there's shit with Sanity Slip. I got to meet Bolt Cutter, got to meet Dezo. Those are the homies now, which is crazy. Everyone's on a first name basis. Numb, I was a big fan of Numb, and now those are like we share a practice spot, you know, hang out together. So it's real cool to, you know, meet a lot of the people that I was respecting beforehand.
Yeah. No, so basically, I mean, more or less, you did a speed run and you kind of talked about the legacy that you've kind of carved out for yourself in the scene, whether in Chicago here or even meeting the guys at a Decimation Fest. You've been cracking down. You've been working hard, and when you're not doing the insane drumming that you do, like I remember learning about you being a dad while we were on the road trip. I'm like, shit, this guy's a father, like, you know, in the best of ways possible. It's like, how do you have the time for all this shit and then taking care of a kid and then attending to the family? Like that's very admirable. So when you kind of started your conversation talking about what you've done, what you managed to accomplish, did I hear correctly that you were like a touring drummer and like you were doing a whole bunch of touring with all these like kind of franchise names, or were you more or less in bands who were opening for those?
Exactly. We in Chicago more so we would get hit up for national acts because at the beginning of it, we were really good at selling tickets. I think for the first big show we played with Oceano and Traders and Spite, we had sold like 78, close to 100 tickets. So it put us direct support, and as a band that's, you know, starting to come up and building your own local reputation, and you're not really getting out of state, just sort of did numbers for us as far as making contacts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then before you ended up starting your chapters and starting your efforts, kind of getting yourself rooted over here in Arizona, you were born and raised in the Chicago area, correct?
Yeah. So this is my second time living out.
Gotcha. So I
Yeah.
definitely want to learn about Chicago because we don't really get that many bands, artists, music enthusiasts from that area. I think the closest we've gotten is a couple bands, that being Surefire MKE, Heirs of Humanity, and a couple others from Wisconsin, but like, you know, that the greater Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
So definitely want to kind of like get a perspective from you and kind of like get your story and kind of get your ideas and how things were for you when you were younger and you were growing up there. Like, what's the good? What's the bad? Like, let's talk about Chicago a little bit. Is it like the fucking, you know, old gangster movies and stuff like that? Because I've never been there. I know I haven't. So it's always fun to kind of hear what people have to say about where they came from, you know?
So it's a little different for sure.
Yeah.
You could talk like demographically or like area wise. It's very segregated. Like there are ghettos or like bad areas. Oh, he's got the everything's sort of segregated or consolidated. You know, there's black areas, white, Mexican, Italian, there's Asian areas, Indian areas. Like it depends where you're at. Whereas out here, you know, you could see a mansion or a luxe house with an in-ground pool, and then go not even a couple blocks and it's nothing but trailers. So Chicago, it's a big enough city to where things have sort of worked themselves into smaller groupings. I mean, there is bad areas. I'd say there's just as many guns as Arizona, but they're all illegal. So it's, you know, more likely to get stolen from. It just depends where you're at, who you're with.
Right. Right. So I mean, if we're not centering in on like the negative aspects, then like how would you say that being born there and being raised up in that area, growing up in that area, making friends, making enemies in that area, because we all have those types of stories, right?
Yeah,
So like how did all of that work for you? And maybe what was the reason that you ended up making that first jump down here back to Arizona back in you said 2018, right?
Yeah, the
Right.
winters, man. The winters are rough.
Fair
Uh,
enough.
you get tired of the cold. Big difference. And Aaron here, as you're saying, how do I afford to, make time and stuff? Big reasons, Aaron. You can say hi if you want. You can come say hi. Yeah, she's from Chicago as well. So
Hello.
yeah, that a awesome partner, great mom. So I'm able to afford to make extra time and have somebody willing to let me go out on the road and shit like that, which is huge. So
Shit. Yeah.
yeah, but out there, one of the big reasons we both came back out here, the sky is most of the time, like right now, blue, open. I'd say about 80% of the year it's gray, very gray. You know, it does something to you, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
need
mean,
your sunlight.
right. Ironically, too, I usually dumb it down then to like hometown syndrome, right? Or water it down, not dumb it down. That just sounds like mean. I don't know why. But when you're born in an area like that, most of the time you're going to want to pursue opportunities that allow you to go to the exact opposite, right? You kind of want to get away from where you were born, no matter who you are. And for me, it's like, oh yeah, like cloudy skies, very bad winters where it's frozen cold, and if you're not layered up 3 or 4 times, like you're going to get frostbite, you're going to get screwed. And that's not even mentioning what you mentioned before, directly in Chicago with those kind of like minority based areas, right? it's
Yeah.
it's always different, so naturally, no matter where you're from, you're going to want to escape. But I mean, we've all heard stories, we've all seen depictions in pop culture media, whether fictional or non-fictional. Flint, Michigan, Chicago, Detroit, all of those cities, like they have a violence to them, but at the same time, it's like if you're willing to deal with the grit, and if you're able to make a living and kind of sustain yourself in that violence and kind of embrace the violence with those cities in mind, it's like sometimes you can make a name for yourself. Hello. I love the curly hair. He's so cute.
Say hi.
Hi. So I think of that, and I just try to put it into perspective. I hope I'm not presenting any sense of like insensitivity, but or ignorance at that. But
No, no, no. I love Chicago, man. We both come from cooking backgrounds.
I was gonna say,
The-
mention food.
The food out there, like that's one of the things is like, yeah, it's diverse. It's like LA or New York, and population's huge, but like so many different cultures, cuisines, and like there's always a hot and a cold to quality of life in a big city. But with that comes, the refined specialties, or things that you won't find in a non-diverse place.
right, right.
The music scene's great out there. Everyone's proud to be who they are. Definitely, especially culture wise. I love it out there. It's just the winter does too much. Prices are going up.
Right.
There is danger. I mean, there's danger everywhere where you go. But palm trees, sun, shit's nice. I
Yeah.
definitely like. I'd rather deal with the hot summer than the freezing cold winter any day.
Yeah.
Have clear skies. I think somebody, I don't remember what the number was, but it was like 300 days in Arizona out of 365 are sunny. So it's like that does a lot for me. And even though I hate when it's hot as balls, I'm so excited for winter out here.
Right.
Everyone, we can bring the kid out, do shit. And some people say like the education system isn't as good in Arizona, but I don't know. I'd rather raise him
I
how we
learned
should.
good.
Yeah. Just teach him what I know, teach him what she knows, and be somewhere, that's more enjoyable mentally.
Yeah. No, naturally. And if you're able to enjoy it, then especially talking about kids, because I have yet to have any of my own. I'm only 24, right? So I'm taking my time. That, and no one's stuck around long enough for kids to come into the picture. But at the end of it, it's like when it comes to kids, that's a whole different scenario than just like looking within yourself and being like, well, I want to live here. It's like, well, also, where might they want to live? Do they want to live somewhere where I've known has more bad than good and has made me more sad than happy? Or would I rather raise them in a place where I feel inspired, I feel a breath of fresh air, and therefore my positivity kind of just floods their whole environment, their whole world, but in a good way. And therefore, after the flood comes the foliage of just like a brand new place, right? You see a whole bunch of vegetation, maybe even overgrowth in the areas around, despite it being a desert. And then because of that, even in just your mind, that's imagination, just putting things into a more positive perspective, and therefore possibly inspiring for said child or said partner. You know what I mean? So good for you as far as making that decision. I know I have every intention to do the exact same thing, but in the opposite way, right? It ends up being the yin yang of perspectives. But
definitely.
Love to hear that.
You remember coming, just a side note on it, even coming down from Holbrook, and going through all the greenery of northern Arizona. Arizona is beautiful, you know, and just because there's a large portion of dry desert, there's it has a lot to offer out here. And definitely an aspect to like raising the kids in a good mind state. It's like the cooking shit again. It's like one of my favorite chefs that I worked for told me, don't cook if you're in a bad mood. You know, when you're in the right mind state, it's gonna, you know, everything's gonna turn out a lot better. So
exactly,
definitely, you know, it's solely dependent on like how you are and how you're outlooking things.
Right, absolutely.
Like blackjack.
No, not like blackjack.
It's the spirit of the cards, man.
Chicago though, definitely some shouts out. Check out Chaos Sphere. Those guys are up and coming. MH Chaos. Those guys rip Sector. Just one band. It's in Spanish. Terrible with names. I won't even try to pronounce it. I'll link you to it. But
yeah, you managed to get two of them, so I think that's good.
Yeah, dude. The Chicago scene is not really to be slept on. There's a lot of good talent coming out of there. The hardcore community is huge. Thrash is still alive and well. Shout out Rain, Dave from Rain. It's like drum brother. There's a lot of fucking good bands out there. The scene is like any other big city. There's a shit ton of people. There's a lot of smaller bands, and that's the thing that I like about Arizona too. Is it's Phoenix is a good sized city, but like if you're making waves and you're doing shit, people will hear your name. You know, it's easy to leave a footprint in Arizona. It's easy to mark fast. The scene it's active, but it's not as oversaturated as, let's say, California or Chicago or New York.
Yeah.
It's like New Mexico. If you're out playing every single national act in New Mexico, you'll probably become, you know, one of the more
prolific band.
Exactly. So definitely grateful for Arizona's scene. There's a ton of talent out here, of which we get to work closely with. So shout out to guys at Wicker Bloom, Wicker Bloom, Numb. A couple of the slam bands out here are sick too. But yeah, no, there's a lot of good people out here. Shout out Two Guns. Yeah, dude, it's super killer scene. I fuck with Arizona scene a lot.
Yeah, we got that triple digit scene here.
Yeah, it's
triple digit heat, man.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's tight.
It's like the one thing I think I can give Arizona is that we're all kind of like compacted into that square grid, right? You have the major Phoenix Metro Valley area. You got Glendale. You got Tucson, which Tucson, I'm not really familiar with their scene. And then, I mean, one thing that I like about Arizona's music scene is that we got the main one here in Phoenix, but we also got hella bands from like the many reservations around the state, and they have their own thing going on. You know what I mean? And it's always cool to see that. It's always cool to see like them coming out when they do, and they're like, "Hey, so we're from the res." I'm like, "Holy shit, there are bands like from the res. That's really cool." And that's just out of pure ignorance. It's just really cool to see those drastically different cultures, both off res and on res, that are still making music and being inspired to write darker shit.
Definitely. Like I was saying about people being proud of cultures in Chicago, definitely same with the res. Native pride is real big out here. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And shout out Murder Rate too. Sorry for their loss as well. No, it's a bit much currently.
Yeah.
Those guys are sick. Fuck with them. They've shown us a ton of love since we started talking too. So shout out to the Fiend for supporting us as much as we support them.
Sweet. So of course, we've been talking about, like, basically you ended up discussing a brief summary, a sped run summary or speed ran summary of your journey so far as a drummer. So I should.
He's over here poking me at this.
I definitely want to learn a little bit about your passion for cooking, but also your involvement in producing. So, of course, whichever one you want to go with, let's go ahead and talk about that next. But yeah, just go ahead and talk about either your producing or cooking journey so far.
So the producing shit, so and so. I got real big into the dubstep shit in like 2010, which now I sort of.
Didn't we all?
Yeah. And like, just working synthesizers, programming, mixing, making tracks. I did that for a long ass time, just like on the side. And then I sort of gravitated towards like just beat making and just, making synths, shit like that. Buddy, you're crazy. It's rocking back and forth on a chair. But yeah, I got real into that. Yeah, I don't know.
You can rap.
Yeah, I don't like to though. I don't like to talk about it. It's like,
oh man,
it's one of those regrets.
I'm sorry.
I hate the rap and shit sometimes.
Oh man.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I love rap music. Don't get me wrong, but like me personally, I don't feel like, I don't know. I'm not one of those rappers to be on some Mac Miller shit and talking about how everything's so beautiful. I don't like to like pretend to be hard either. But like, I don't know. It's like the angsty scene kid face to me. Like,
That's fair.
You can love it, hate it. The beats in general is like what's more important to me is like producing and curating the beats, making something with original sound. But out of that, like, I'm glad I'm able to just hop in a DAW and do whatever I need to do, whatever genre. I've learned a lot of audio equipment, wiring, mixing. Most of my equipment shit stems from that, so it's not like you've seen at the show, I run my own mix, my own modules, everything's dialed in, and it's no issue for me to go and figure something out in that sense. So definitely equipment wise, that's sort of what I take from it. Being able to mix shit down, work a DAW, like I said, organize shit, produce shit, it's tight. The cooking, I cooked for a long ass time throughout high school. When Erin got pregnant, I had a buddy, Connor, shout out Connor. He worked at the Public in Chicago, which was downtown in the West Fulton Market District, sort of the known spot, as quite a big reputation for like changing farm to table food in the Chicago area for the chef shit. It's nothing like Michelin star, but it's a name that's known, and he got me in there just as a normal job. And from there, I learned more than I expected to from, tons of people who devoted their lives to the cooking shit.
Right.
So with that, it sort of opened the door, and her being, with child, I guess you could say, I was constantly cooking. So I, started getting fresh food, less stuff out of a box, less eating out. Fucking around in the kitchen while working there, and it gave me a skill that is useful.
Yeah,
which is cool. It's like learning to build a house. If you need a house, you could build a house. If I need to cook something or find or make food, I could do it. There's more to it, but that's sort of the summary of that whole thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, by all means, man, go ahead and there's more to it. Like, tell us what more there is, like what goes on in your brain, what's kept you like passionate and really focused in when it comes to that, because it's an art form. It's actually one of the most important art forms in the world. So let's pick your brain a little bit. Let's talk about this, man.
Well, right now I'm sort of like, do I even talk about this shit? This dude's cheating because he went to culinary school. I'm like the complete opposite. I just earned all my cooking shit through merit working at certain places. You know, I don't have the backbone.
Ooh, I earned through merit. Oh,
Through merit.
oh man.
That cut.
Yeah,
That cut. I'm sorry. But
last night we made some pretty good food.
Aaron made some pretty good food.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
That's right. Nah,
Oh wait, sorry.
yeah, we had some chili chili Reneos. Aaron. Aaron influenced and driven. He said we made some pretty good food. I said Aaron made some good food. She's scoffed at me.
No,
Nah,
I mean,
definitely the cooking shit's tight. I got a book called The Flavor Bible, and it sort of just gives you a list of ingredients: cheese, every kind of fucking vegetable, shows affinities, shit that pairs with it really nice. And I'd say last summer in 23, before I was playing drums again, I was just cooking all the fucking time. Aaron calls it a crisis, but I made apple pies, which I just fucked up a million times and just kept making batter. Went to an apple orchard, poured them all, and just I was cooking all kinds of shit: cheesecake, carrot cake,
ooh,
pies, fucking different marinades for steaks, different sauces, every vegetable that they had in the market. Try to fucking incorporate or fuck around with. So definitely, it's explorative. Everyone should cook. Everything we eat is garbage now.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's better to have something fresh than something out of a box, even if you don't see immediate benefits. Shit adds up. It's good for you.
Adds up. Exactly.
It makes you feel better too when you eat a good meal. So I mean, it's you can turn nothing into something pretty easy when it comes to food.
Right. And to be
Yeah.
honest, Shobe, you've been holding back on me. I didn't know you went to culinary school, my guy.
Like 40 years ago, man.
Every time I'm cooking, this man can't help himself. He's like, when you jump in,
I think that would be a
In
decent
my-
segue then. Let's fucking talk about that Shobe. I didn't know about this. Come on.
I was telling them about like market day. They'd basically just wheel out a hotel cart full of shit and give you an assignment, and if you didn't cut it, then you got sent home. It's brutal.
Sounds brutal.
Yeah.
Especially when it is food. That's like the most fulfilling thing that most people can partake in. It's like the one, it's quite literally to me, after seeing movies like Ratatouille and growing up on that shit, you know, I know that's kind of a basic entry as far as like movies and shit, but it's true. Like you watch movies like that, you're like, you know what? I think I want to make Ratatouille. Oh wait, I'm in America. I don't really have the means to make that. So you're looking at an empty cupboard or something. So, I mean, yeah, food is always a very important thing. I know I definitely enjoy a day where I can at least have two meals and two like very very well fulfilling meals like eggs. I used to do I used to regularly do a killer recipe. It was a soft scrambled egg recipe with aged coastal white cheddar bricked. All right, so I was just basically talking about the dish, like my signature dish, the best one that I've made, which can be broken into a great variety of different dishes in general, just different meals. And that would be soft scrambled eggs with aged coastal cheddar. It's a white cheddar, really good. I'll chop up spinach and I'll chop up sweet white onions. I'll kind of mix that all into almost like a slightly drier than dip consistency. And then really you can get like an apple, what is it? Like an applewood chicken sausage and like a big old coney bun, and that's a breakfast coney. You can put those same eggs, the same soft scrambled eggs into ramen. That's pretty good. With some pot stickers, and otherwise I would just put it on a slice of Dave's Killer bread, slap it all on top, put ricotta cheese on top of that, and then like some other spices, and that was like a pretty decent breakfast. But Shobe, your turn, buddy. We're learning even more stuff about you.
No, man, this is drum time.
Well, I mean, honestly,
I want to talk about the things.
they haven't been announced yet. It'll be announced this weekend.
The announced. Ooh,
Yeah.
You really can't say anything?
I mean, I can, but I'm trying to do it right. I can say it on here. But
Yeah, when is this releasing?
yeah, when are you dropping this?
It's a good question. Basically, with these 2 next days, I'll be able to edit this. But if you guys want me to upload it, like today's the 17th of October, if you want me to release it like a week from now or something, that's completely up to y'all. I can upload it right alongside, and then we can kind of edit out a little clip saying, "Hey, I've been endorsed," even if it's even if the video quality is kind of AIDS. Like, yeah, that's completely up to you.
No worries. So, Giants Eye Media, that's Dondre. He's the whole reason for Envy having a drummer and the progress we're making and shit like that. That's Dondre. He's picked up the media shit. Like, I think this is his 2nd year running with it. Dude's killing it. Shot for Peeling Flesh, 2-piece. He's like 2-pieces main guy, Numb's main guy. At this point, our main guy. Which doesn't discredit anyone else. Shout out Dawson. Dawson Knight's going to be doing a video for us. Music video either for something concurrent or something new. But Dondre came over to the studio 2 days ago, did press photos for the announcement, and then a 30-second playthrough of Thirst Impact. And I sent him live drum audio so you can hear all the new cymbals. But yeah, it's signed on with Soul Tone cymbals, complete customs, logos engraved and everything exactly how I wanted, and then Collision drumsticks. So I just logged into the Collision page too, so everything's rolling and active.
Speaking of drumsticks, I still have yours.
Oh shit! Yeah, dude.
I kept this shit. This is like core memory shit right here. They're all splintered and shit too. It's like, be careful, but these belong to my buddy Ernie. That'll be the story for when people ask, why do you have drumsticks? I'm like, well, there's this guy called Ernie.
Called Ernie. The thing. There's I love those Vic Firth X8D sticks. I'll send you a video though from Houston. It's the second to last date on the run, and we're playing Polyseptic to close out the set. And I had 6 sticks. We bought 2 pairs in El Paso, and at the end of the set, I had just like 2 single sticks left. But we were playing so I blew through 2 pairs. We were playing Poly, and I was just cracking the bell really hard. And there's a shot. You could see the stick fly all the way up in the air over Derek and land on the right side of the stage.
That's great.
So I was going through them way too fast. So I'm happy to have the Collision shit going.
Which have lasted pretty good.
I split one after what, 5 hours?
5 hours.
5 hours of playing, but I was beating them up a little bit to see what, how they could take. And they didn't chip at all. So I hit it hard enough to where it broke. So they have a good build to them. The other sticks I was using were shedding like crazy, little chips. Yeah, but Collision's tight. They've been super helpful. Dean from Soul Tone, it's been good. I was getting a little antsy with the shipping just because I was excited, but nah, they're perfect. They look great. Be sharing high quality photos of all of them and high quality video and everything like that. Most likely this weekend. He said it'll be done Friday. So
what'd you pick?
What I pick? The cymbals? That's a good question. So the Minals I was using, I always like the extra dry, so like raw cymbal. It's not lathed or anything. You can see tons of little hammering marks. And by dry, it's sort of more crisp sound, real explosive, but a good decay. Whereas like a thicker, brilliant cymbal is going to ring out more. Real bright tones. I like to be on the higher end of like the tone spectrum, but very short sustained. So, just sort of, it's hard to put into words. I always struggle with that.
No, you're good.
But yeah, so I got duals, which the inner, say about 1/3 to 2/3 of the cymbal, maybe half, is all natural and then lathed around the edge. So I got duals for the China, the 2 hats, which the hats are crazy. They're 2 different tones. The bottom is like a thicker hi-hat. It's got a little bit higher of a pitch, and the top is not real thin. It's thinner, but it's got more of a a lower frequency, which when they're together and closed, you get the click and like crispness of the top, crispiness, whatever. But when you have them sort of feathered together and you're letting them swing loose and the two are clashing together, it creates like a combined tone, which I love the hats so much. The hats are great. The left one, how I had holes in it, it's still an FX symbol. It's got holes in it now, but it's a 19-inch instead of a 18. Before, I had an 18 with the holes and an 18 Byzance dual, and they sort of took on the same pitch because I wouldn't even say same pitch. Like, it was two completely different cymbals, but the one having holes in it made it higher frequency, sort of more trashy like a China. But now that I have a bigger one, it's more how it should be, because as you get bigger in cymbal depth, the pitch goes down. So now it's high note on the right and low note on the left, which creates sort of a better defining difference, or like fluctuation in tone. So it fits the music better. They sound great. The hat, the China, and the right crash are all still duals. Everything matches my setup, but it's all upgraded. The bell is thick as fuck. And then my ride cymbal is still a mega bell, but it's custom brilliant raw, with like external lathing, but a real big bell. It's got a great tone. It sounds like a train bell. Everything's great. Cymbals sound awesome. Stoked on those. And then the 10-inch splash sounds great too. So I'll be posting more drum content for sure.
Yeah.
Another playthrough.
Dude, they're so sick.
They are. They're really cool. They're all smoky looking, like they're fresh out the kiln. Like the hi-hat on the inner of the bell, I swiped my finger along the raw part of the cymbal and I had carbon from the kiln on my fingers. So I'm like, these are fucking super fresh. So shout out Soultone. The cymbals are great. I've heard all kinds of things, but the series I selected, I got the natural heavy hammered prototype. So those are great. They sound awesome. They feel good. And if I break any of them, I'll probably play them until they're teacups. So yeah, they're great, man. Definitely. They're nice. So super stoked on all that. That's like huge news for me as a drummer.
That's big news for Envy.
For Envy, we got customs. Like, he's endorsed by Eargasm now, so like we're actually working hand in hand with companies to make what we do more professional and legit, sponsored, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It's part of something bigger, which is it's the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing too, if I may, I think that is the most like educated, most intimate conversation I've ever heard about a hi-hat or even like China cymbal or any of that. So I think this is really going to be a good way to segue into talking gear. Okay. So
Yeah.
with the way that with the language that you're speaking to me, man, it's in codes because I don't know shit about drums. But the thing is, it's really fascinating to listen to you talk about like these very small details, like the carbon that you got on your fingers when your stuff first came in. This is all very, very fascinating. And I think people who, maybe aren't drummers, but maybe they want to understand what goes on inside the mind of their drummers a little bit better. Say they're in a big band, say they're in a small band, they're just starting out. They're like, this guy never stops fucking talking about this and that. It's like, maybe this is a good opportunity to like kind of introduce them and help them understand their drummers a little bit more. So,
well, here's a hot one. I'll throw you a good bone on here. And I'll send you a picture for editing if you want to drop the cymbals. I got an overhead shot. We could drop it in the corner while we're talking about that, like from past couple minutes, just so you can sort of have a visual on the video.
Yeah.
The Envy snare. It's a very touchy topic. It really is. It really is. I had a 12-inch vented pork pie, 50/50 maple birch. Really nice snare. It was smaller. The traditional snare drum is about 14 inches, which you can get pretty high, especially if you have a piccolo, where you get like that grindcore ping, or a lot of the slam ping. But our snare is cartoony.
Okay.
That's the best description I've heard of it. It's got the pop of a piccolo and a ring like a fucking beer keg, but also but it's a high pitch too while also being low, and that's because our studio one is blended. It's like two different snares blended together. So to achieve that with the real snare is very hard.
It's an effects snare, right?
Yeah. So it's essentially a piccolo over a very low snare with no belt with the decay turned all the way the fuck up. So it's a pop with like a pong of a medium tuned snare ringing out forever. Well, not forever, but you know, it's got that chong.
Yeah.
So originally I started out using the pork pie. It was cool. These guys are like, no, I like your FX snare that I had off to the side better, which was a 10-inch Pearl M80, $80 snare. It's just meant to be a side snare. When we were tuning it high, and they're like, the thing pops. And then there was a whole debate about being like grindcore style, like no snare belt, take the snare belt off completely off of the drum, which I fought that really hard just because I, you know, as a drummer, I'm like, that's stupid. Why would I do that? And they just pushed and pushed until I did it. I'm like, so you like this? And they're like, yeah, it's what we want. But I was like, this is fucking dumb. I really don't want to do it. And we just kept tuning it higher without the belt. And they're like, no, it sounds great. And I'd turn it higher and they'd be like, oh, dude, this perfect. I'm like, this is so stupid. Why the fuck are we doing that? Me and Shobe went to Guitar Center and seen the upgraded model of the Pearl M80, which is a 10-inch diameter by 4 depth. We found a 1060 Pearl maple popcorn snare.
1080, I thought.
1060.
Oh.
The M80 was the little guy.
Oh, okay.
The 1060 is a Pearl popcorn snare. It's 10 inches by 6 inches. Hi. So that one is, it's all maple. But we took the belt off of it too. And it just rings out more because of the depth. And it's pretty close to the Envy snare. Nothing will be exact to that. Unless you design drums and you can make some shit like that.
Right. Maybe that'll be the goal one day. Is to get a custom
signature
drumsmith.
Signature dumb snare.
Signature dumb snare. But we will be using live drum for the next any release going forward. So December 1st, we're in the studio to record live drums, which will be the custom cymbals and the new snare. We may or may not layer the old snare over it, just lightly to keep some of the essence. But I feel like studio mixed and mastered and shaped, that snare that we're currently using for live shows, which you've heard, will be substantial and or just as good.
Yeah. And maybe it was through the positive bias and maybe through like a delusional level of sleep deprivation, going throughout that, just because I've never been able to sleep on the road. So that just naturally, that was like the one con, right? But other than that, I got a little bit of sleep once we got into Oklahoma. But I remember.
You had the worst seat, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
You had the worst seat in the van.
No, it's whatever.
No way.
I'm okay
that was
with
like
it.
the best seat.
No, you can't sleep there. It's just a chair where you can stretch your legs out and it's a 90-degree angle.
Yeah. So me being like, I literally, boys, I sleep on the floor, flat on the floor. So it's like, naturally that was going to be an issue, and that's okay. I'm not like, grumpy as shit about it. It's part of the experience. But yeah. The reason I mentioned that is because I'm not sure if it was because of my delusional sleep deprivation or because you were like right on it, right on the money with your setup, but you sounded exactly like the recordings. Exactly like the recordings.
It helps we trigger, and we don't trigger for sensitivity, just for likeliness and for consistency and volume. We use the studio kick as the trigger sample.
Yes, it's actually the sound from the album.
Yeah, we're using the newest kick live everywhere.
Good shit. It just sounded really crisp. Those bells came in really well. No, it all sounded really good. I'm just like, man, they got a live drummer now that can make all this happen. This is fucking sick.
Sounds even better now, dude.
What's crazy is that we had so many people tell us that it was impossible. They're like, nobody could play this stuff. This is made for a machine.
Which it was.
And then Ernie comes over and in like a month learns it all.
He's like, I am machine.
Eric wrote it to be equally dispersed in left and right. And my flaw as a drummer is my left hand is not as strong as my right. So I do a shit ton of crossovers where I'm reaching over the other hand to use the dominant hand where I need it or what's most comfortable. So it's which Derek's like, no, that's even cooler because you're playing the shit that I wrote and you're making it work, even though it technically shouldn't work with your capabilities. So
Let alone anybody's capabilities.
learning it always makes me mad because I have to make adjustments and do weird shit to make it happen. But it's not impossible. Once it's learned, they're all fun songs to play. I love playing our set live.
Fuck yeah.
San Antonio went great too.
What's that?
No, you're cool. You're cool. All the live sets were fun. I had a lot of fun.
Fuck yeah. And yeah, just kind of continuing past and surpassing really the products and the pieces of your puzzle now that you are being endorsed by. That way, you can get your sticks when you need to. You can beat the shit out of your set when you need to, and then boom, spot me. It's like one just kind of drops out of thin air. It's like, this is from the endorsement. Yeah, exactly. Spotted. Medic. Other than that, it's like, what is on your kit right now? What's your whole setup right now? Because I think people want to know how such an impossibly programmed and written style of drums has been made possible by a live drummer now. So of course, like, what are all the pieces that make this drum kit what it is?
Yeah, so currently I'm rocking some. I'll get to the pedals. The pedals are like a sweet spot. I got some it's a Gretsch Catalina Catalina Club. So it's all mahogany shells. I have a big ass 24-inch kick drum, a 13-inch rack tom, and a 16-inch floor tom. It's all black and white, racing stripe with the white, almost a black sparkle. My pedals are Trick Pro 1V Bigfoots, so direct drive, extended footboards. They're not the low mass footboards, but those are great.
Those are super sick.
Yeah, they're like space age. Shout out Trick. It's like the best pedal company besides ACD, and they're from Chicago. Yeah, I love those pedals. The guy who designed them used to machine race car parts, so they're meant to be efficient for sure.
That's fucking sick. That's a nice little detail in there.
Yeah, dude. Trick pedals, great. They're worth the money. The pedals I got were like 13 something, brand new. I caught them for like $800 shipped. So
why are the beaters so cool?
The beaters I got on there right now are low boy beaters, and I actually need to talk to them. They're perfectly balanced, but I don't know if it's the metal or if I'm hitting the shit too hard, but where they go in, it's actually bent now. Both of them have a bend to them because of playing them. So I don't know if I'm hitting the fucking drum too hard or if it's a quality thing, but I'm gonna try to get them replaced.
I think it's A.
As far as those go, I love those beaters. On my left side, I have the dual hats. I have an FX cymbal, a 19-inch. So 14-inch hats, 19-inch FX cymbal, a bell that's offsets my snare, which is a 7-inch brass bell. I have my big bell ride, which is now a 20 instead of an 18. I have a 18-inch dual. It's like dual crash, but it would be the ones we're talking about, the natural heavy hammered. So I have that, and then an 18-inch China off to the far right. The triggers are ran through an EAD10, which I'm changing to a Roland TM2. Everything runs into a Mackie 802 LVZ, I think it is, or VLZ, I can't remember. I think it's LVZ08. So it's an 8-channel mixer. I split everything from a 3.5 to a dual TRS, so left and right stereo off of a phone goes into there, so I can send the left side to the venue with the triggers and monitor in my headphones the full song and click track. That all comes through the right channel. I monitor that. I monitor the kicks. So the triggers, the samples, my click track, everything going to the venue. I all have it in a custom mix, and then I just send that out to the venue. So that's basically the setup. And then of course the snare is the Pearl 1060 maple popcorn snare with no belt. no belt, and on all my toms and snare, I use Evans Black Chrome. So they're all blackheads, but they're like they sustain a lot of tuning and they got a lot of ring to them, which I like that. It's like a deep ring, low resonance.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's the
So
whole
Going back to the beaters, why are the wood ones better than regular ones?
it's with the weight, and then the distance and the shape. You're moving a mechanism, and depending on how much force is like coming back at you or working against your springs.
Is that because you do the single kicks or whatever?
No, so like I got my pedals really loose because I don't double stroke. A lot of metal drummers that go insanely fast, they're doing heel toe, so you're getting 2 strokes per foot. So do 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 do.
yeah.
So me, I go heel toe up or heel up singles. So it's just pushing, and I'll get the pedals bouncy enough to where I can work them, and they'll still swing back at me, but I won't have to fight to push down.
I
So
see.
once I get it into a motion, I can feather them, and they'll swing at the speed I want.
Whoa.
So it's all single strokes. So when you hear a roll, that's all single taps, just really fast wiggling.
Yeah, that's insane.
Thanks,
Right?
man. It's harder to do that way. I should really just learn double strokes. My life's easy, but heel toe up singles is a flex a little bit.
It is. It is.
It's
So
just it's harder, but it's cool. Lake from Snuffed on Sight only does heel toe up or heel up singles. No double
takes a
stroke.
lot more.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more like precision than with your feet.
Same with Jay Ellie from No Suffer. Those are my two like I wouldn't say gurus because I've never had like lessons from them, but Lake from Snuffed on Sight and Jay from No Suffer, both those guys are the big homies. Any advice I need, any support, I go directly for them for my questions. They use similar gear to me. I got to meet Lake here in Arizona, which I've been talking to these guys since I got back into drumming. So it was that was full circle for me. Lake threw me on guest list for the Sold Out Peeling Flesh show out here. Got to meet them and take pictures. And then Jay, he put me on in El Paso and helped that date come together, gave me a venue, gave me the best local openers / local bands. We put together a fat ass bill for that show.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach from No Suffer too, the vocalist. Him and Jay are like brothers, so it's been cool to meet some of my role models too, which is
Yeah, I'm sure.
yeah, that's huge for me for sure. Highly prolific characters in the drumming scene for sure. They both know their shit. Their gear is on point. Their techniques are on point. So I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So in your journey so far, then after we kind of like conclude that gear segment, so what are some of the new things that you're learning as a drummer? What are some of the new things that are kind of standing out to you? Because obviously you have the skill. You've had the skill for a long time. Has learning Envy and their songs so far, has it been a challenge for you or what?
In the sense of making stuff comfortable for sure. Blasting has been something that I can do. I don't finger blast using my back fingers, and I gravity blast for the sections I need to, but just making the blast work with what's comfortable for me and being as accurate as I can and going faster and faster as I've noticed improvements in my speed, especially my right hand, which I still need to work on my left, but definitely it's helping me get faster for sure. And speed's something I appreciate.
Yeah. So in that case, like, what are some new things that you're learning? So obviously you're learning how to like be comfortable with your techniques and stuff. But is there anything that's like, oh, this is how you do that? Or like, are you learning like jazz on the side or anything? Because I know when you're done conquering metal and rock, like I've heard of many musicians, whether guitarists or drummers, who then go over to jazz and like, this is fucking infuriating how hard this is, like being on point and figuring out how to be on point with jazz being such a drastically different genre. So have you had any of those like kind of just eye-opening moments recently?
Not so much. I listen to jazz for enjoyment or like rhythmic influence.
Yeah.
Like just the ability to be able to, just like in the kitchen, you're like, oh, I'm gonna try something new or experiment. Yeah, you'll see a lot of that in the new stuff we're writing. This is the first time I've written Envy drums, and from consensus, it still sounds like Envy, but the drums have changed. Things are a little bit faster.
Yeah.
A
We're a
little
lot faster.
only a few beats per minute, like 7.
That changes whole genres, man.
No way. No way. There's still dummy slam parts, and that's what's funny about your question is like we play slam, where like the hardest part for most slam bands is the vocals and the drums. You know, you still got squeals, but it's not tech death. You know,
Right.
the drums can be super technical, very fast, but for the most part, we write 90% caveman, 10% impossible. So we're sort of surfing a 20% impossible and 100% dummy. But the new stuff is still the same. It's just like all roided out.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably. I have a feeling that when I listen to this new stuff, whenever I do, or like, I've listened to a couple things, but ultimately, I can tell that with you guys now having, with Envy now having a live drummer, and you being as much of a machine as you are, you mentioned like caveman and impossible, like that ratio. So then I imagine literally a Neanderthal, like looking up at an Anunnaki that happens to be like poking his head into his cave. He's like, oh,
There you go.
so this is what's
This
going
is
on.
first contact.
First contact, exactly. So basically, Envy, from a musician standpoint, ends up being that first contact, like IQ difference, IQ jump.
A little bit of fire that just happened from lightning, and a whole lot of like hitting squirrels with rocks. You know?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm ready for it, man. I really am. I'm excited to see how you guys kind of shake things up going into the near future now that you have like such a drummer behind you. But as per tradition with the crosscast, I think now out of left field would be a great time as any to go ahead and just talk about like some of the musicians that you grew up with and maybe some of the first few drummers, first few producers, albums of all time, all that type of more like clickbait shit for the crosscast, just so we can kind of pick your brain on a more surface level. So I'll go ahead and give you 5 slots, just like I did with Shobe, just like I did with Derek, Tristan, and go ahead and give us either album, genre, bands, drummers, or even people completely separate from the music industry that have managed to kick you into that kind of first contact gear with your drum level.
I feel you. There's some albums I really fuck with that are like staples. For sure. Me, like there's been a lot of times where I'll shift my focus. So I'll have a favorite set of bands currently, favorite set of bands last year. It's always changing as things go in and out. For the albums, 3 that'll probably never change would be 10 Code by Villains. That one's huge. I guess I could add in Sworn in the Death Card. It's a great one. Musically well written. Vildharda, their debut, Mastodon. That one's great. Another one, Color Clear by Reflections. There's some genty shit. There's a bunch of shit I really like a fuck ton. Perfect War Forever by Glass Cloud. That's a great one. It's always changing because there's so many genres I really like to dip into and center in on.
I would know. I heard a lot of I don't even know if I heard all of them on the road with you guys.
It just keeps going, man. And
Yeah.
I've had my Spotify nuked like 3 times and made a new account. So it's like I do really go through like phasing on what is brought back into play and what sort of it's not forgotten, but moved past a little bit.
Any albums or artists from this year that maybe people might be surprised by you enjoying or appreciating as much as you do?
Probably not surprising, but I Love to Kill For by Chamber. It's a great. That's probably one of my favorites from the year. I think it was 2022. It was Deprecation. that album has been like on constant rotation. Everything from Gulch, big Gulch fan, Gulch, um, Black Tar by Scalp. It's a big one. You're getting the most answers out of me right now. Normally, I'm like, I don't know. How am I supposed to pick a favorite? There's a lot of shit, man. I definitely try to spread out my horizons as far as like favorite songs, favorite music, favorite albums go.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, honestly, I cruise through so much shit, man. It's sort of tough.
It's hard to isolate it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Naturally.
those are definitely some of my favorites. They're great influences.
Fuck yeah.
Really well written. That Mastodon album by Bill Harder can be played a million times in a row, though. That shit's so fire.
Ooh, here's one for you. Usually we do this at the end of the podcast session or crosscast to be more on brand. So I mean, you guys have now had the opportunity to kind of be the traveling celebrity recently. I just happened to be a part of night like 1, 2 when we went to Oklahoma. But I mean, I remember the energy of us rolling into town. They're like, "Oh my God, Envy's in town! Let's fucking go!" Like they brought the energy. It was really cool to see.
We
So
love Duncan. Duncan was sick, dude.
Duncan was fucking sick, and don't worry, folks. We'll be talking about that plenty here in a second because there's a lot to talk about. Whether for me personally or for the guys, just I don't know. I'm sure it was an interesting experience for them too. Just having just a YouTuber out of nowhere. Well, I'm not even going to go there, but it's just having somebody that they've known for a long time randomly volunteer out of nowhere, just like and they're like, "Fuck yeah, cool."
Yeah, definitely.
So let's see if you were able to tour with any band right now, and this is like, without Invirulant in the picture, it's like maybe growing up, has there been a consistent band that you've been wanting to tour with that you haven't had the opportunity to tour with yet?
I got like 4 right now, and it's not even grown up. Like 4 that are in my current sites that I really fuck with be Bolt Cutter, Dezo, Bastion, 10 to the Chest. All those guys rip. I haven't heard a bad song from any of them. Literally no bad songs. That's the thing, is like some bands have hit or misses. Those guys are just fucking on point.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. And I mean, it's cool to know that I've at least hosted like one of those bands on my show. And that was like one of our record long conversations. I think I reached out to 10 to the Chest not too long ago. And I think I did reach out to those other ones as well. Usually the main numbers, the main masses come from just how many bands I inquire with. And I mean, I have this massive list on my tablet of, okay, not scheduled, but definitely interested. And I think there are like 80 so bands in there right now that I'm just like trying to keep track of because my Instagram DMs are just blown up because of it. But no,
definitely cool. throw Dezo on there. Shout out Woomrot too. Honorable mention.
Woomrot, yeah. Good shit. Aren't they Texas, right?
Corpus Christi, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Definitely fits with the name then. All right, awesome. So I think that for now, and basically until time continues on, until this bigger conversation, I think you've told us a good chunk of your story so far, and I look forward to having you on into the near future for early album listening sessions, and then digging into the actual EPs and albums. I look forward to adding you. Now we only have McDaddy Matty. That's the only piece of the puzzle we have left to host. So
he's bored, man.
So Shobe, how you doing, bro?
I'm chilling, man.
Good. So I wanted to check in on you, maybe kind of have you talk about anything that's been kind of stand out recently without trespassing personal boundaries. Like
yeah, obviously there's been a big shakeup in the camp. Got a new guitarist, and we have a new drummer. It feels like we've got a whole new lineup almost, but it's still me and
Trisberger.
Yeah,
Trisberger. I like that. That's great.
So it's a good family though. The boys have good energy. It's a good group of dudes to be around. I think you would agree.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, absolutely. Did I meet the new guitarist yet?
Probably in passing at the Steel Cactus State.
Yeah, yeah.
Freshman is actually inquired to
One
fill.
double duty.
Yeah, inquired to fill the spot once we made conclusive decisions and stuff like that.
Right, right.
Alex Fire he's a good guitarist, and he's stoked to take part in the project. So it's something that's required.
In the same way that Ernie was broken in trial by fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna be doing the same thing with Alex here in a week or two.
We'll probably have to get him on the show by the end of the year. That way, like him and McDaddy Matty, that way it's like, okay, now we have everybody from Invirulant on the show telling their story, all that fun shit. And then, kind of probably going to 2025. Looking forward to whatever next major effort you guys are cooking up. And then, we'll get everybody in a room. Hopefully we can get some of your endorsements, the people representing those companies. I think that would be a massive step too, is getting them involved, but we'll see what happens, right? Not trying to like, we should get everybody on here like right now. It's like, oh, wait a minute.
Nah, you're cool. I can definitely reach out too. We're going to be dropping a 2-piece aiming for the turn of the year, but we'll see how things are going. Definitely the 1st of December, going to be recording live drums, and then at that point we can send everything off to post-production and see how the turnaround is. But expect a 2-piece, 2 singles. So
I look forward to that.
Yeah, for sure.
So now, we kind of segue into this bigger umbrella conversation, which, ladies and gentlemen, over in the Cross Core, everybody who's been subscribed to the Sean Cross channel so far, and maybe to future investors of the Sean Cross Patreon, the Cross Core Patreon. Hopefully that'll be a thing. We'll see what happens. People, because of the boys, my brothers, my homies, my buddies over in Invirulant, despite, the new faces that I wasn't too familiar with, right? That was a whole process, and I tried not to be as like YouTuber clickbait, like, yo, we should record a podcast conversation right now in the van. I'm like, no, calm down. Just do that when you get home, right? So if you guys could observe, like, yeah, he's kind of being quiet. Well, that was why I'm like, hold back, restrain yourself. Do not be fucking Keemstar in this van with them as we go on a 14-hour drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So naturally, there was a little bit of hesitancy. Now we're a little bit more familiar with Ernie's background. I know him a little bit better. So now we can talk about this bigger conversation, talk about my first touring experience, even if it was one night. So, technically, I wouldn't say it's a touring experience. I went over to Oklahoma.
It was 3.
It was 3?
Yeah,
I mean, just for me, because like I was only with you guys for like 2 shows. I don't know. To me, it's like that's kind of a sample, right? I have yet to go on a 2-week tour with the band. That would be me being involved and traveling with the band. That's all. But
you hate us by then.
No, not really. I know I would. Are you kidding me?
Be surviving off condiment packets and shit.
Yo, who's got the mayonnaise? I need some mayonnaise.
Yeah.
All right, we have returned. This is the part of the crosscast where I forget where we last left off, but I think we were just talking about no, you guys were like, yeah, you would have hated us after just 2 nights. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't. And I kind of like doubled down on that by saying that I'm really glad that my first on the road experience was with NV instead of any other band, because, well, without providing much context, it just ended up being fun. It was just like hanging out with any of my deep fried brain dead humor homies back in the day. It was like hanging out with the goons, if anybody that listens to the Crosscast is familiar with those guys. Really good shit. They're funny as hell. They don't take anything seriously, and half the time, just like the music that these boys are writing, as tight as it is, musically speaking, the skill level that it takes to play this type of stuff, whether it be drums, guitar, the consistency that comes with it, and the fact that from the very beginning, from the very first session we had, one of Shobe's main intentions as a vocalist and as a lyricist was to actually utilize the lyrics instead of just like going like, there's a lot of culture and there's a lot of skill, and then working together making it a band, making it a live band, and then touring. Like those are the three big steps for a band like Invirulant. But then when it came to just traveling and having these conversations in between, like me and Big Daddy Matty ended up having a lot of great conversations about just appreciating the Eastern United States and wanting to get a farm property set up out in the eastern, just the outskirts, especially as we were driving through the countryside of Oklahoma. Like it was just beautiful over there. And I remember having plenty of conversations with them about that. So me and Maddie ended up relating on that. Me and Ernie ended up talking a little bit. Me and Tristan were just shooting the shit. Me and Derek were shooting the shit. I think most of the time, as per I would have done if I could sleep on the road. I do believe Shobe was asleep a good portion of the time when he wasn't driving and when he wasn't in the passenger seat, rocking it up there with Maddie as they were doing overnight conversations just to help Maddie keep awake. But honestly, guys, best experience, best gateway experience to be like, do you want to tour? Do you want to be a touring band? Do you have what it takes to travel, possibly lose sleep? Because me specifically, I can't sleep on the road. There was a lot of things that came with it, but most importantly, I would have not wanted to have that first experience with anybody other than these boys and these boys alone. It just ended up making sense. It worked. It was nice, and it wasn't like too serious most of the time. And I don't know.
It was really nice having you along.
Yeah, man. It was honestly, after all the time that we've spent in which I just basically reached out to you guys because I'm like, oh shit, it's a AZ local, like, not Phoenix local, but Lake Havasu local, AZ local in general. I remember first reaching out to the guys, and Tristan was like, oh yeah, I also play in that band you've been trying to get on your show, Vile Impregnation. I'm like, oh shit, that's cool. And then he did Angel Splitter. He did all these things before. So I was like, oh God, okay, this guy knows what's up. He's been around for a long time. He's been doing this for a long time. But then just the premise of getting an AZ local band on the show was
we're rescuing Tristan this weekend.
What's up?
We're gonna go and kidnap him and bring him down to the valley.
Kidnap's more proper than rescuing.
Kidnap, rescue. It's the same thing. It's all point of mind.
Yeah. It's all point of view. Yeah, for sure. No, that should be really fun. Aren't you guys playing a show here pretty soon at the Nile?
Yeah.
When is that?
Nile on the 1st with Cultist.
Oh yeah, with Cultist. Okay, that would be November 1st, right?
Yeah, so not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Gotcha. I might have to show up to that, especially after basically not being able to save any money up for the road trip I was hoping to go on from the 3rd to the 4th. I'm like, I might as well just go to that
Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely be there. I got to meet Cultist. I've heard a lot about these guys from Reminiscence. Not personally, but like I've seen them rock the West Coast with Cultist a couple times now. So it's like, okay, I'm familiar with them. They are, yeah. I just actually, while we were waiting, I saw a little clip. I saw a little clip of them and their music, and I'm like, whoa, cool. So
yeah, man,
badass. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I don't even know. Like there's so much to talk about, but overall, I never thought that out of nowhere, me saying, yeah, I'm down. Like, when do you guys need it done? Oh, Derek messages me. He says, yeah, we're going tomorrow night. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, right.
That was a whole process. But basically right after I got off of work, I'm like, okay, I'll meet you guys wherever you need me to. Like, let's do this. Fuck it. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to just out of nowhere be able to do something like this. And then next thing I know, you guys showed up to my house, and Shobe, I think you and Derek briefly met my younger sister, and she's like, well, better take care of him. And you guys were like, yeah, we will. And then we rode off into the sunset. That was, I don't know. There's something special about that. So I guess like ultimately what I would contribute to the conversation is that the only con really was the sleep. Other than that, the conversations were fun. The laughs that we had on the road were fun. Going to places, you guys covering my food, and I really appreciate that because I
breaking the axle.
Yeah. Van turning into a vibrator on the way back. Like, dude, all part of the experience. I think that was probably the funniest thing, and I felt so bad, Show, because I remember you were sleeping for a good portion of the way. I don't know how you were with how bad it was vibrating. I know I couldn't sleep, especially after it started vibrating. But I remember like seeing your head kind of like bounce off the side of the van.
Fucking tambourine, Mr. drove me nuts.
Yeah. And like how worse it got by the end of it. We're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Threw it away. It wouldn't stop.
Tambourine.
No, the van was shaking and there's a fucking tambourine sandwich between the two merch bins. It just would not stop for like hours. So I fucking threw it away.
Yep. I remember that. Show was like, we gotta keep this, man. Ernie and Matt, you're like, fuck no, dude. Fuck you. We're tossing the tambourine.
Aaron, you know my little shaker that goes on the cymbal?
Oh my God.
It was trapped in between two bins when the van was vibrating, so it was just tambourine noise for like hours. We fucking threw it away. It was like, no, don't throw it away. Threw it away in fucking Albuquerque. I was pissed. That shit pissed me off.
Made me sad.
I slept most of the night, and then I woke up. It was like 7 in the morning. Probably woke up at like 3, 2, and I'm like, why does the van feel like fucking airplane about to fall out of the sky? And it's just tambourine noise from there on. I'm like, fuck this thing.
Glad we got the insurance on that bitch.
Oh my God, I am too. Oh my God.
It lasted for the rest of the tour.
The second band lasted.
It made noise too, like it was fucked up, but it barely had any miles too. I don't know what people do to these vans, but they have 0 miles on them and they have all kinds of issues. Shit, it's broken. It's like, oh, a brand new van, let's go fuck it up.
Okay, so there, I think that's actually basically what we'd be talking about is, you know, other than, wow, that was really cool, even if it was just for a night or two, because I had to go back to work. So like, how many of the same issues ended up prevailing after I kind of broke off from y'all that night in Gilbert? Like,
there was only one issue the rest of the trip. Just one.
Just one. And that was the van or what?
Nope.
All right. Well, yeah, fair enough.
Good bits, good sets. Houston showed us so much love. Texas was great.
Yeah, Texas was rad. Got to go to a Buc-ee's.
That was the one thing I was hoping to do. Like I in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, hope we run into a Buc-ee's. Like,
about dude, that smoked sausage and shit.
Ooh.
Smoked turkey.
It's good. The food is good, but like it's supposed to be a gas station, not a restaurant. I don't know, bro.
No,
that's just part of the culture as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Like,
literally a cult.
It was very culty. It was pretty
cool. It was like
welcome to Buc-ee's.
Hail the Beaver.
Hail the Beaver, yeah, exactly. I'm thinking of cooking up a similar mascot in the future. And you know, that little clip right there will get me sued, but you know, that's okay. I'm thinking of like, I forgot his name, but I wanted to do something for like, I think Satanism. Like not exactly the Baphomet, but it'd be something similarly styled to Buc-ee's, just like a harmless, almost like kid-friendly mascot, but it would be for like anti-religious shit as well. So I forgot what it was gonna be, but I'm like, that's it. I gotta go to a Buc-ee's to get some inspiration.
Santa Claus.
What's up?
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus, yeah. Yeah, I mean Santa Claus is actually supposed to be Odin, but you know, we don't talk about that.
Santa Claus. Or that damn Easter Bunny, the non-credible religious character.
Yeah.
Worshipped by America.
Yeah. It's weird that we have so many of those. I'm just glad the Tooth Fairy, I guess, didn't get a main image. Because I think the Tooth Fairy would be a whack character to bring to life.
Fuck that, man.
You wake up and Tinkerbell's sitting there stealing your teeth.
Like, Santa didn't buy those kids shit. I'm broke over here. Fuck Santa.
Santa just skipped over Chicago.
Fuck Santa. He skipped over Detroit, Chicago, all kinds of places. He didn't make a Midwest stop.
No Midwest stops on that tour.
On that tour, he says. Yeah. Christmas 2024. No Detroit. Sorry.
No Midwest stops on this tour. You come back and there's like hooves missing off his reindeer. Yeah. Yeah, it's like full as fuck fucking catalytic converter on my sleigh.
Oh no.
So
Sure, man.
as you guys were continuing the tour, I saw you guys got to sleep on the floor of someone's home. That must have been nice.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
my
yeah.
man Mark. Shout out Mark.
Yeah, Mark was awesome. Great host.
That's the boy. Shout out 101 El Paso.
101
Yeah,
El
that's
Paso.
101 El Paso is a cool venue. Killer guy. He's
there's a
fun
live
guy.
setup from it if you want to peep that.
Yeah, there's a full live set. We got full live sets for Phoenix date, which we'll be posting.
Okay.
So the Phoenix date, Houston's posted, and the live set from El Paso is posted. Nothing for San Antonio, nothing for Duncan. But the rest of the day, nothing for Albuquerque, everything else. So half the tour is online.
Right. Yeah, I ended up filming a couple videos for the Oklahoma date, being that I was just kind of
Okay.
sitting at the table. So, I mean, I don't know if I got anything that's like live set worthy, but I've recorded a good chunk of the kids in the ski masks and stuff jumping from side to side in the venue, and I think I got like a couple videos of Unrelenting Butchery and Tyrannical Deception as well. So,
Were you there when the ranch exploded on Shobe's hat?
oh yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I saw it happen. I remember the next
I,
morning.
I, I had to get a new hat.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Dangle
that's
ranch.
nice and sauced up, eh, Shobe?
Yeah, the black
Dude,
ranch.
pass that over to me. I want to give these guys a shout out. Let's see this.
Oh, Logan Line. Yeah,
Dude.
yeah.
Look at this sick ass hat.
Hey, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like the flames too. Very 2000s friendly.
I gotta figure out how to charge my phone and do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Rotate.
I got my shit on 10%. What do you want to go
Oh
up to?
shit.
Oh.
You want to do it on your phone? No, I could charge it. But I gotta like move it
I was
off.
like, I don't know.
I guess we can.
You want to do it off your phone?
Yeah.
Can you
All right.
DM the Envy page the link?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and DM. That's fine.
So we'll pull it up on our Instagram.
Yeah. All right. I'll go ahead and jump over there and send you all the link. We'll be back in a second, guys.
11:09.
Recording in progress. We're back on Shobe's device. So, I mean, yeah, overall, then, after I departed from y'all, like, what were some of the cons that y'all were dealing with when you were finishing up the tour? Was it mainly the van or what?
That and trying to book everything and do everything ourselves is a lot of extra stress. And the playing part is the easiest,
Yeah.
like trying to like do all the tour management and social media and stuff like that. I know that's like a lot. So yeah, it's crazy. The music ends up being like almost secondary.
Yeah. It ends up being aside from all the business stuff and just making sure you're good to go for the venues you're playing at and shit.
Yeah, and like where to be, and it's like planning out. And okay, we've got to leave by this time to get there by this time, and
Yeah,
it'd be cool just to sleep in the van and just wake up in a different place every day.
yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately too, wasn't that like one of the first tours that Envy did?
That is our first.
That was the first tour. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
I was like
So
right there at the beginning, even if
we
I
can
wasn't there for the whole time. You know what I mean?
We want to get out to Chicago. I know next year.
Okay.
So if we can do like a week run next year, and then maybe like some little baby weekend things, do like Vegas, California.
Ooh. See, tell you what, honestly, if you guys want, if I have more time to prepare, that way you guys aren't having to fork out money, I'd be down to go with you guys again and like actually have that full experience. So
Merch man,
exactly. And I can just be like, hey guys, I also do YouTube. They're like, wait, what? And I could just self-plug every now and then over the counter. That could be pretty fun. But other than that, of course, making sure that we get merch sold. And I would say that first night too, I was kind of surprised. Like I didn't realize that the money that we made was actually like a decent amount of money. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I just I have a niche for this a little bit. But yeah, I think that could be really fun. So I look forward to let's see. When are you guys thinking of going there next year?
Summer.
They want to go in the summer. I want to go when it's blasted out.
He said flaccid.
He did.
Nice. That's a great way of describing it. Calm down.
Yeah, placid.
Oh, placid. Okay. Not flaccid, like a, like a tired little John. Okay. Gotcha. No, I look forward to that. Should be pretty cool. And honestly, it's the same goes for any other AZ local acts. Because I mean, the intention right now is to move back over to Tennessee. I'm thinking about Oklahoma now after even spending one day there. I'm like, shit, why not? Duncan looked pretty comfortable, so I might consider that, even though Oklahoma is more susceptible to like tornadoes and shit.
We're still up for the night. We have to make sure we can make that day for the summer.
Thought it was the 19th.
It's the night. Maybe it's the night.
See.
Yeah.
Weekly back to back.
Good luck, Alex.
It's 2 Saturdays in a row.
Oh man.
It is. No, it's a
Oh.
it's a Friday and then a Saturday. We got booked to we have a show. We're waiting on the flyer. It was supposed to be the 19th, but it's the 9th of November. So we got to show the 1st, which is a Friday. Then we got to show Saturday the following week
Gotcha.
at the Nile with
Brutal.
Mutilation Barbecue.
Yeah,
Set 2
definitely
now.
need to make sure to be there.
2 weeks in a row. We got to make sure Matt can make it because the cultist show. Matt might not be there. Alex will have to play his first show with us, covering both guitar parts.
Really?
So, yeah, we're feeding Alex to the wolves.
Trial by fire.
Trial by
Yeah,
fire.
sort
That
of-
is the trial.
That's gonna be tough, man. I don't like doing 2 shows within a week span in the same venue in the same town. The draw is harder,
Yeah, it's much harder.
and it's not like we could drop either of them. Because Raleigh, that's like 2 weeks away. He's got us in mind.
Yeah.
Can't fuck around with that. And then Coldest, we've already filled our spot. We can't fuck with either of those. No bueno.
Yeah, we'll figure this out.
Yeah, you guys got this. But yeah, I mean, ultimately too, I guess now that I'm kind of done contributing my like, wow, that was cool. I guess one thing I would want to recollect upon is with this being Envy's first tour as well, like what we're probably like, first of all, did you guys even think this was possible for Envy? You know what I mean? Like when you guys first started out, Shobe, you, Derek, and Tristan, did you guys ever think that you guys would be touring?
No, I wanted to do something more than just a bedroom slam. I wanted to be like a festival band, and go and do like a couple big shows a year. But to be honest, like I don't know, the show's a show, man. It's fun either way.
Fair enough.
I've had a lot of fun playing on the road as much as I have playing, big giant festivals.
Fair enough. No, I know I would love to even get a spot on a festival. And the thing is, too, the only festival I've been to was Warped Tour of 2018. And I just remember almost like passing out from heat exhaustion that day because there was 113 degrees seeping into the Phoenix summer asphalt. So it's like if you didn't wear thick enough shoes, if you weren't wearing Vans or something, like you'd be like dancing around because your feet were getting burnt. So then recollecting, what's up?
Sick.
Yeah. No, good shit. So then thinking back upon that, I'm like, I don't know if I could ever go to a festival, but it might be fun to attend one and like even kind of be in the same ballpark as these other like franchise slam or deathcore bands, depending on the festival you manage to get
That's
booked
the
for.
coolest part.
Yeah,
Yeah, to be able to network and stuff.
it's a big networking opportunity. So, Ernie, want to ask you the basically the same question I asked Shobe just now, and that would be, was this your first touring experience? Yeah, I think you mentioned that you did a couple ones beforehand with other bands. So,
I've done a
how,
bunch of weekend runs like the Seattle shit, and then
right,
Southern Illinois, St. Louis, Tennessee from Chicago. I did one full length, which was Detroit, uh, um, Detroit, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Kitting, and then back to Ohio to Columbus, and
right.
then I forgot where in Indiana, and then Chicago, and then down to New Mexico, and that's when we like our van fucked up and we ran out of money and shit, so we just came home.
Yeah, fair enough. So then
Yeah.
how would you kind of compare that experience to this one? Like how would you compare? No, you know what? That's not the question I'm meaning to ask. So what can you recollect upon with those first couple touring experiences, and like what are some fond memories that come to mind when you think of those experiences, whether the good or the bad, that we were all kind of like,
Um,
sharing our first tour experiences, I guess.
Honestly, it was pretty good. I was definitely a lot younger. I was 18. I'm 26, so it's 8 years ago. Um, the van we were in was not as streamlined or good. The van now is rented and insured. My van was cool, however. We removed like the back 2 rows of seats and had a full-size mattress with the TV mounted in there. That was my personal vehicle, so it was tricked out. It had like surround sound and shit in it. It was good, but it was not a sturdy vehicle, so it fell apart. This was more put together. Still same shit. Good laughs on the road, tons of miles. But the shows are like the most important part of all of it. So I'd say it's very similar. I had just as good of a time playing on stage.
Good shit.
But these guys suck. I hate these guys so much. They're the worst. All right, I'll talk to you. Fucking worst. No, we're the best. Just dick jokes and
Go Team Envy.
dick
That's
jokes and
honestly, yeah. That's what I'm saying though.
Seattle.
Like I remember there was like one thing, there was one rule that we had. It's like van talk, like tour van talk stays inside the van or whatever. But now that you mentioned like the dick jokes and all that, it's like absolutely. That's what was going on. And that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
made it just so much more fun and entertaining to be
Just
with y'all.
tons of fuckery. And I hate saying that from my girl because she's like, oh, you just went on the road and had a bunch of fun. I'm like, no. I did put everything together as far as dates and rosters and bands, and it was a lot to manage. And I would enjoy if we worked with a tour manager or a booking agency.
Right.
Um, it sucks that it all got dropped on our lap because with that comes costs and reparations if shit falls through,
Yeah.
or if somebody doesn't get their guarantee from the venue, we cover that. You now become the one responsible for being in charge and taking care of people, which fuck
Right.
people. I, I'm not a babysitter, I just play drums. So like,
Yeah.
if we could have something else where drive and play shows, it's cool. The fuckery will stay the same, but I would rather not be held responsible for organizing shit.
Yeah.
Promoting, sure. Coming up with ideas, sure. But being the one like stringing
Manhandling
shit
it all.
together, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like doing that too much. Like it's doable, if you put it together, you put it together, but it's still a bitch for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, I think I can say from the experience of someone who's been, mind you, managing an almost non-existent band project for as long as I have been, trying to cook up all the ideas with no money to my name to invest into like, instrumentals, because I'm not musically inclined enough or confident enough to say I'm going to be the front man and the bassist, even though it's been my intention for like the last year and a half. It's like most likely, just like I was thinking at the beginning when I kind of had some people who might be interested and they might have been, writing riffs and stuff here and there, but nothing serious. It's like then after kind of plucking away that I don't think I want to be a bassist and vocalist on stage. I think I just want to be a front man or whatever. That then comes with, okay, so if you're just going to be the front man, what else are you planning to do? So I'm like, okay, in the future, I would be more than happy to manage everything and kind of pull a Caleb Shomo to where I get seasoned with instruments behind the scenes. I write most of the shit. I handle a good majority of the musical process. And then on top of that, I kind of get the impression that other than Red Bull Records, with Caleb Shomo as the example, that he kind of orchestrates, he kind of manages everything. And he's like, look, all of you guys are great. It's awesome to see that you're wanting to stick around for multiple albums, but this is my band. So it's like, I don't know, behind the scenes, if I was trusted by all of the other members in a project to manage everything, and it's like, okay, as long as you're willing to handle it, cool, there you go, you can kind of take the reins and we'll follow your lead. I think if it was that situation, I know I would be more comfortable. But at the same time, when you have devoted musicians, when you have people who have been well seasoned in this industry for as long as all of you have been, whether in a local show or touring band aspect, doesn't matter which one, there are those more serious business moments at the end of the day. There's going to be disagreements. So that's also the beauty of a band, is aside from a relationship with a romantic partner, Ernie, like you or even Shobe have had, in which those relationships spawn little ones and all that, over time, like that's a relationship, that's an agreement or disagreement, differentiating philosophies, ideologies between two people. Then a band becomes at least 3 to even 9 people that you're managing to orchestrate. I hope this is not too much of a ramble, but what I'm trying to say is it takes a lot to keep this all organized. But if I was in your position, I was managing all the shit, as long as people trusted me and they weren't like, I don't think we should do this. It's like, well, tough shit. Like, I'm already managing it, I'm already orchestrating it. Hopefully this doesn't fall through. Hopefully the venues don't, like there isn't stuff that goes wrong with the venues. Hopefully there isn't stuff that backfires, right? Please trust me with this and let's get this all orchestrated. I
Yeah.
got us, kind of blind faith, for lack of a better term. That's kind of like the first conversation, or I guess hypothetical situation that comes to mind. But yeah, other than that, when
I
you're
think that's going to be,
what's up?
sorry, I was going to say, I think that's going to be like our next level up. Like, 'cause we get really good support from our label for like CDs and merch and stuff and
Right.
promotion, but not really booking and touring and stuff. And if we could get
An agency.
locked in with a touring agency or a management company,
Yeah.
I think that's really where we can,
TKO, man.
yeah,
TKO.
where we can kill it.
TKO's the shit.
Maybe TKO. I think avocado booking, right? For like international shit. Or am I remembering that incorrectly?
Yeah, we can leave country now. There's no felons in the back.
I think that would be pretty cool, seeing fucking Envy in the UK or Europe. I think that'd be pretty lit. And
We've been asked to
especially
come
that allows
to
me to go outside the country.
For real. They've been asking us
Consistent
to come
merch
down
guy.
to Mexico.
Oh, dude, I would love to go to Mexico, bro. Like that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
thing too. On another note, kind of like briefly segueing back to like, the whole touring talk and just kind of reminiscing on my first experience. I remember telling Tristan, I'm like, yo, I can finally say that I've traveled in the name of music. And he's like, you know what? That's a great perspective to have in this situation, despite all the things that are going sideways. I'm like, yeah, man. The thing is, you gotta appreciate the first couple iterations of an opportunity for then you to want to confidently say, without a shadow of a doubt, that you do want to do this for the rest of your life and that you want to be a lifer when it comes to music. So now it's like, yeah, technically I have, but not for as long as these other folks have. Like I look to a buddy of mine, Josh Davies. He has a band called Malice UK. It's kind of like the Spite of UK. And he's been doing merch runs. He's been touring with Ingested forever now and just kind of learning things from them. And I'm like, shit, am I about to be the Josh Davies for Invirulant, bro? Like especially if, we can get the time scheduled off, right? And if it works out, and if I have like, more than 48 hours to prepare financially for said adventure, it's like, man, I absolutely love that. So, just manifesting that out directly to the people that would be saying yes or no. But no, I mean, honestly, that would be pretty insane if you guys started getting international opportunities, because then chances are, because of the bands that I've interviewed over in Malaysia, Indonesia, Germany, Europe, deep Europe, UK, chances are they would be welcoming us with open arms. So, just speaking out loud, but trying not to like go too far, but yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to have had my first experience with you guys, and I can't say thank you enough. But now with you guys looking into a booking agency, it's like the future is very uncertain, but in a very, very exciting way. And I don't know about you guys, but from an outsider perspective, and if I end up being the merch guy going into the near future, working with you guys, traveling with you guys, I look forward to all the opportunities you guys have yet to have within your grasp, and all the bands that you guys have met so far, the energy of the crowds that you've came into town to invoke and conjure from the woodworks of these communities. I can only imagine that you guys are excited as well. But let's see, I think we're only looking at about 4 minutes. And I think this will be the last kind of recording chunk for today's podcast. It was a more casual conversation. We are definitely hoping to get Finn involved, because he's done some touring himself, but maybe next time, right? So yeah. Do you gentlemen have anything to kind of conclude the conversation with today before we embark into our other errands or other endeavors of the day?
No, I'm sorry. I forgot we got offered another show for Sunday. For Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So shit's all over the fucking place as usual.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say for Team Envy, I'm grateful to have Ernie on board. It's a game changer for sure.
Thanks, bro. Alex is tight too. He's just quit scaring him, bro. Scaring him too much.
Give him a big hug.
And we'll be, I think, briefly, Ernie, you mentioned earlier a great number of different Chicago local bands. I'm thinking we might go ahead and reach out to them here pretty soon in your name. So can we go ahead and name off those Chicago locals that you can kind of recollect within yourself?
Yeah. Trying to think of who's active and who's not, who's really doing shit. Hit up MH Chaos, Multiple Homefront Chaos. Sector, SECTOR, Sector's sick. Chaos Sphere, 100% tapping with Chaos Sphere. End Path is cool. You want to hit up Victims. They're pretty busy with it.
I wish.
Yeah. I could put in a word. I know Victims.
Okay.
I could always I'll hit Meredith on Instagram or something and be like, yo, the homie wants to interview you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I played with Oceano and Lorna Shore and all those fools, half the time Victims was like the other local opening.
Yeah, that's that dude. I didn't even realize that. Like Chicago. Wait, who else is from Chicago? Victims.
Yeah, Youth Forever's no longer existing.
That's right.
Barrier just put out the last 10 Seconds of Life, Frogs. That single was good. You can put in a word with Alex from Barrier, see if he wants to do anything. I know a lot of, this thing is like, I was really active around like 2018 in Chicago, so like a lot of those bands either dissipated or in hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
But the dudes from Rooks and the drummer from MH Chaos is also in Chaos Sphere. Chaos Sphere is like number one for me right now in Chicago coming up.
Fair enough.
Guys are
And
We
yeah,
we
ironically enough, I
weren't,
have heard of them. So
I think we weren't invited. Those guys have come through Arizona before. They toured quite a bit. I put in a word with those guys and Bum Showings. He manages them. Um, you hit up Nom. Nom's
yeah.
good
Oh
too.
yeah,
Honestly,
absolutely.
Arizona homies are like the people I talk to more so now.
Yeah.
So like them for sure. I would hit up Beyond All Doubt.
Hmm.
Those guys are sick. I could shoot the homie a message. I'll hit up some people, throw them your name and shit.
Yeah, yeah,
There's some
yeah.
good bands to hit up. Definitely reach out to Newcomer. Those guys are nasty.
Are they from here
They're
or what?
from they're from I believe Brooklyn or the Bronx.
Brooklyn? Okay, cool.
I think Brooklyn. Brooklyn. They're like a Dominican three-piece. Those guys are fucking sick.
Ooh, okay.
Those guys are really good. What else is coming up? Skin Ticket. Hit up Skin Ticket.
I'll definitely. Okay. So we just left off, Ernie. You were just recommending a whole bunch of bands and like mentioning a whole bunch of bands you could reach out to. So yeah, we're literally just in the concluding section of the podcast for today. Um, so yeah, honestly, if there are any other bands you're looking to shout out, that's completely fine. Otherwise, we'll look into concluding.
Let me have my phone aid me in this.
Hey yo.
That's the MV algorithm for you.
Apparently.
Terrible. Shout out Meteor Gem Record Shop in Chicago. They host NV CDs now. I don't know. I gotta check the stock, see if they need more. But they hosted our debut and Necrophagon.
Gotcha.
Let me see.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Meteor Gem's the shit. I normally support shows. I'm trying to see. Can't remember. I think it's Empire Booking. Shows. Yeah, victims on there. I'm trying to see who else. I just don't want to forget anybody that I fuck with generally. Hit up Witherbloom too. Witherbloom would be dope.
It
Come
would
on
be.
here. Those guys are great. Shobe, name some bands while I'm looking.
Hank Williams.
I hate you. Hit up No Suffer too from El Paso. Those guys are the homies. No Suffer's sick. Who the fuck else is on here? By the Thousands is cool. Those guys are sweet. Sorry, I'm like speed scrolling through flyers.
No, you're good.
Good refresh. I can't believe I missed that show. That looks crazy. Let's see.
The
Black here.
the
Fuck.
the
Fuck. Dude, I don't speak Spanish, but these guys rip. Son of a bitch. What am I, bitch? Pronounce that.
Si Dios quiere.
These guys.
Well,
I don't know if you could see that or not.
not really.
Uh,
You'll probably just have
it's-
to. We'll probably just have to message me the link for them, like share their profile URL or something.
Okay. Yeah, I can send you a bunch of bands. Honestly, there's so many homies. I don't want to skip anyone either. Check out Bad Trip from
Oh
Oklahoma.
yeah, yeah. Bad Trip. No, those guys were really good.
Those guys are the boys. Signs of Abnormality from El Paso is sick.
Mm-hmm.
Lone Star Massacre from San Antonio.
just naming off some of the tour ones.
Yeah,
These guys are
absolutely.
on fire. Dead Echo from Phoenix. Blah, 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 blah.
I think you're giving me most of the episodes for next year.
Honestly, there's a lot of really good bands that are coming up. Definitely hit Dezo. Don't sleep on Dezo. They'd be down for it too.
Dezo's been
We
out.
already did them.
You did Dezo?
Yeah, we did a 4.5 hour conversation with them.
Holy shit! Yeah,
That's why I was mentioning it before, bro.
Yeah, Dezo's fire, dude.
They are.
Yeah, Bolt Cutter, Cryptoxic Mortality. It's the homies too.
Yeah, aren't they CKB, or did you guys just make merch with them?
They're CKB. Numb is gonna be CKB too. Do you know when that's happening?
I'll get to my computer.
Yeah, dude, I'm like drawing blanks trying to think of everybody.
No, you're good,
I don't want to skip anyone either. But
Oh, it's on overlay.
Carniceria Slam from here. Carniceria.
Carniceria, yeah.
Ripped Out. Those are some young slam bands that are gonna be like sort of under our wing in ways and shapes, some sort of form.
Mhm.
Mainly just putting their name out there, sharing their music, and then hooking them up with like some CKB subcategory shit.
Yeah, badass.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Shobe, unless you had anything else you're wanting to plug, any other bands you're wanting to plug, I think that'll be it for episode 85. More casual conversation.
No,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
this is awesome. This is the Ernie episode.
The Ernie episode, yeah. And then next time it'll be the Alex and McDaddy Matty episode. And then we'll be caught up.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, and everything possibly in between that have been patiently waiting for me to get new content uploaded for Sean Cross or really any of my other channels. This is episode 85 of the Anatomy Crosscast, and we hope to see you next time. Later. Bye. Sayonara.